Coming up, ever dreamed of working on Capitol Hill? Or perhaps you're one of the ones who've been there and done that. Our guest right after the break delivers the dish in a book called Capitol Hell. We're back after this. Welcome back. Our guest tonight is co-author of a book called Capitol Hell, and she says that it is a novel, as in fiction, about the ups and downs of working on the Hill. And if you had any delusions left that the jobs up there are glamorous or easy, well, this book will likely put those to rest. I can assure you of that. Alicia Long, thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm having a blast.
Oh, that's good to know. Now, I have to ask this, and I know everybody wants to know, is this actually fiction? Because you did work on the Hill.
I did work on the Hill.
Okay, so how much of this is
3
fiction
years.
and how much of this is taken from your real life?
Well, my co-author and I like to say that a good girl never kisses and tells. But what we will say is we did both work on the Hill, and that there is, you know, kind of a lot of truth maybe sprinkled throughout the book, but we definitely took some artistic license.
And you were definitely a Midwestern girl who came to the big city, right?
That's true. That's true. I'm from South Dakota.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
Midwest.
So talk a little bit about the shock of the culture shock of coming to this town, and what was the biggest surprise beyond the fact that apartments rent for $1,000?
I know. I think that was perhaps the biggest surprise. But, you know, I think we just kind of, we were so naive. We didn't even know, you know, how to work the metro or, you know, we kind of were just jumped in. And so it was not only was it learning about the policy, but also kind of seeing the politics and what goes on behind kind of that Senate office curtain to get bills passed.
Right. Well, I think that's what your character goes through at the start of the book.
Exactly.
Begins to see that what she thought was this sort of glowing, great place is nothing of the kind.
Exactly. And so I think, you know, what we kind of learned, and but the character Allison, who's the main character in the book, learned.
Who has nothing to do with you, of course.
Of course not,
Right.
no. I think she learned that, you know, a lot of times Senate staffers are asked to do things that they would never be asked to do in regular jobs.
Examples.
So whether it's walking the senator's dog or maybe buying the senator's wife some lingerie, you know, maybe it's changing the senator's laundry, all of those things can happen on the Hill.
Now, of course, everybody wants to know about the sex scandals, the ones we hear about on
yes,
the
lots
Hill.
of
From
sex
your
scandals lately.
perspective, is what we hear about only the tip of the iceberg?
I mean, I don't know. I think it really probably depends on, you know, the member to the member. I was lucky enough I worked for members that never were embroiled in those types of things.
Fair
So
enough.
I kind of lucked out as a staffer not having to deal with it. But it does seem, I mean, I think it's a lot easier to kind of catch them with their pants down, if you will, now that we've got Twitter and Facebook and everything else.
Yeah. Now, does Washington change people? I mean, when you came here, you were one way. You left another way, I'm sure. You're still here. You're different than you were.
Still here.
And what about the members that come here and change from where they were?
I mean, you know, I think there is a little bit of Potomac fever out there. I think, you know, once you get elected to office, it's very easy to kind of enjoy having that power and to kind of let it go to your head and to maybe make some bad decisions. And that's where you see, you know, folks kind of getting involved in the sex scandals or any other of the political scandals. So I think there is some truth to it.
So if there's one thing that you think the folks back home need to understand about the people they vote to send here and what happens to them after they get here, what would that be?
Oh gosh, you know, I would say just, you know, make sure you pick somebody who has similar values to you and hope that they kind of stand by those values, because at the end of the day, I think that's what's going to carry them through and keep them from making those bad decisions.
At the end of that book, are you positive or negative on Capitol Hill, or Capitol Hell, as you call it?
Oh, even though the book's called Capitol Hell, I absolutely love my time on the Hill, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It was the experience of a lifetime.
All right, Alicia Long. She's now a lawyer who works for the DEA, by the way, so don't cause any trouble. The book is called Capitol Hell, and Erica's here now with your quick forecast. Erica.
All right, thank you very much.